Welcome to Before You Brew. Today I'm going to be talking about Satoru Umezawa. This is a series designed to give you all the information you need before you brew a commander. This includes archetypes, budget, power level, helpful resources, and more. Satoru Umezawa is 1 blue-black for legendary creature human ninja. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This ability only triggers once each turn. Each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu 2 blue-black. So each creature in your hand has 2 blue-black. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand, tapped and attacking. The draw ability is great, and you'll probably get to draw a few cards from it, but you don't need to build around it or modify your deck in any way. It's just incidental value. The main ability is that you get to cheat out a creature, tapped, attacking, and unblocked for just 2 blue-black. So let's go through some hypothetical turns. Say you cast a Slither Blade, which is blue for a 1/2 that can't be blocked. Then you cast your commander on turn 3. You can cheat out Blightsteel Colossus on turn 4 for 2 blue-black. Since Blightsteel is already unblocked, the damage will go through. And since it has Infect, the 11 damage will be enough to kill someone. Infect gives players poison counters instead of dealing damage. And if someone has 10 poison, they lose the game. Blightsteel is probably going to be the best card in your deck, unless you build around Razaketh. The most powerful way to build this deck is with Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded line. Razaketh lets you pay 2 life and sacrifice another creature. To search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle. You can cheat out Razaketh and use your small creatures to tutor for a way to win. I won't be going too in-depth on this strategy, and there are better options for competitive commanders with similar playstyles. Other than Razaketh, there are 2 main options of how to build Satoru. You can build a cheating in stuff deck, or you can build a ninjutsu deck. I would highly recommend you implement at least some cheating stuff into your strategy, but running more ninjutsu cards is optional. So let's focus on the plan of cheating things out first. The biggest goal here is to get something big out on turn 4, which means that on turn 1 or 2, we need to play an unblockable or difficult to block creature. Then on turn 3, we play our commander. And on turn 4, we attack with our creature and cheat in some big creature. It's a simple plan, and it shouldn't be too difficult to make it happen consistently. The first thing you need is cheap, unblockable, or difficult to block creatures. Cards like Changeling Outcast, Gadul Lurker, Mist-Cloaked Herald, Slitherblade, Tormented Soul, and Triton Shorestalker are unblockable. Artificer's Assistant, Fairy Seer, Hypnotic Siren, Mausoleum Wanderer, and Siren Stormtamer all have utility and flying. These are all 1 mana, and I'd recommend that you play all or mostly 1 mana cards as well. That way you can play ramp or draw on turn 2. But if you'd like to pay more mana for more powerful evasive creatures, you can certainly do so. You want to start each game with 1 of these in your hand, but you don't really want multiple evasive creatures. It's a tough balance to strike, and I'd recommend running 11 to 14 of this effect. Your ramp and draw will be typical of any Dimir commander deck, so I'll talk about the creatures we want to cheat in. You know you'll deal combat damage with your creature, so Silent Blade Oni and Lord of the Void are great. You won't get attack triggers from cheating it in, meaning that Annihilator won't trigger when you first cheat it in. So keep that in mind when you're selecting creatures. Agent of Treachery, Runescarred Demon, Void Winnower, and Jin-Gitaxias Kor Augur are all amazing. You can build this with ninjutsu, just include less big stuff and less evasive creatures, and replace them with more ninjutsu cards. Cards like Ingenious Infiltrator, Mist Syndicate Nada, Throatseeker, and Throat Slitter are all good. But if you want to make a ninja deck, I'd honestly just recommend Yuriko, Tiger's Shadow. Which brings me to competing commanders. The most prominent competing commander is Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. Yuriko is basically just better for ninjas. Yuriko is great in a Satoru deck, and Satoru is great in a Yuriko deck. Perforos Bronze-Blooded is another commander that cheats out things, but it fills a different niche. Kenrith the Returned King or Joda Archmage Eternal are better options for this playstyle in competitive areas. I've seen Snoosuke comparing this to Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, and I can certainly see the over. You run a lot of small creatures and then get some huge creatures out. It's very similar play power, but the color difference is significant, and I don't think it's in direct competition. For power level, tell people whether you're playing ninjas or cheating things and which big creatures you have. Make sure to point out if you have Blightsteel Colossus, Razaketh, Void Winnower, or Jin Gitaxias. Let people know if you run a lot of tutors and how consistently you can get things out. It's borderline CEDH viable, but there are better options. It's hard to recommend this as a budget deck because how good this deck is hinges on which big creatures you could cheat out. And every big creature is expensive. Because Yurko is so popular, even the Ninjutsu deck is expensive. To jumpstart your brewing, I left some helpful resources in the description. And a few good cards with Satoru Umezawa that I haven't mentioned yet. Ornithopter, Toxrill, Tetsuko Umezawa, Invisible Stalker, Wingcrafter, Nezahal the Primal Tide, and Mind Leechman. Also clones to copy your big creatures like Phantasmal Image. Subscribe if this video helped you, and watch one of these videos next to learn to use Archidekt or Moxfield so you have a site to build your deck on.